Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. That's right, just Matthew and I. Jay will be joining us after his big NBA duties.
Yeah, he's got some NBA duties. But you know what, Connor? We got.
That's right, it's all we need.
All we need. There you go. All we got, all we need. Big jam-packed show today.
A lot to get through, an awesome divisional round. But Matthew, some news at the top that surprised me a little bit.
Okay, what's that?
Sean McDermott being fired. That's not the shock factor.
Yeah.
It's that Brandon Beane has now been elevated and will lead the coaching search for the Buffalo Bills as the Bills move on from Sean McDermott after their divisional round loss to the Broncos.
So we're going to talk about the Bills-Broncos game coming up here in just a little bit. So we'll get into that, which it seems like that's one of the reasons why he was fired. And so you can debate whether you think McDermott deserved to be fired. I mean, this is a team that was, top 5 in wins and point differential throughout McDermott's career.
Right.
Made the playoffs a ton of time.
All the time. Yep.
Every single year. Did they underachieve because they've got a generational star at quarterback? Maybe. But my argument here would be, Connor, is that it's the same thing that we had with the Giants. If you're going to fire Brian Daboll, you need to send Joe Schoen out as well.
That's my take.
And if you're firing Sean McDermott, I don't understand how Brandon Beane still has a job.
That's my exact take.
Yeah.
It's got to feel tough for Sean McDermott, who I think if he wants, and it sounds like he does, another job, because we still have, I believe, 8 vacancies filled. All that's been done is the Giants wisely got that ink dried on John Harbaugh's contract this weekend because he could have pivoted to the Bills.
I know.
Kevin Stefanski will be coaching the Falcons. And there's a couple finalists in certain areas, but this thing is wide open. I think Sean McDermott's going to be a head coach next year.
Yeah, I think you're probably right here as well. I feel like Harbaugh got $100 million, so Harbaugh was probably still going to the Giants.
And a lot of power.
And a lot of power. But Stefanski, it's an interesting debate as to what's in Atlanta, you have Bijan Robinson, you have a decent defense. There's a lot of pieces on that Falcons team. Just not sure they have a quarterback. I know you're a big Michael Penix guy. I think the jury is still out.
Though, and but if it doesn't work with Penix, it feels like Stefanski will now be given his shot.
Right, exactly.
Rather than here's Deshaun Watson, here's Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
It was chaotic in Cleveland.
It was chaotic in Cleveland. It'll be interesting to see if they draft a quarterback this year, or does he try to make something with Kirk Cousins. So we'll see about Stefanski, But Buffalo, which has a lot of deficiencies on both sides of the ball, and we'll get to that in a second, but you got Josh Allen. You have 17, you have a shot in every single game.
It's time to win the Super Bowl.
Yes. Right. And so it is, I think there is a strong argument to be made that either that or Baltimore, and I'd actually make the argument that Buffalo, that is the best job opening of the 10 that are now open because of Josh Allen. And I get the Lamar argument. My only counter to that would be I think I'd rather have Josh than Lamar, just because I feel like Lamar just misses too much time. Over the one of the reasons why Harbaugh's looking for a job is that he had to start Tyler Huntley for however many games he had to this year.
That's right.
And that's something that has come up a decent amount. I think I'd rather be in the AFC East than the AFC North as a division, just in general.
It's just the Patriots. The Jets and Dolphins feel so much further away. This is from Ian Hartitz, of course. The Bills have signed the following wide receivers since 2024. Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Matt Collins, McCole Hardman, Tyrell Shavers, Laviska Shenault, Quintez Cephas, Chase Claypool, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, KJ Hamler, Jalen Virgil.
Yeah, hard to believe Mapletron, Chase Claypool, right? Didn't work out for these. So great tweet, but that's the point. Is for how many years have we said, Josh Allen's got to put on a Superman cape and go win this because he has no one around him. Ben Solak, shout out to Benjamin Solak, he tweeted this out. Since drafting Josh Allen in 2018, the Bills have drafted 56 players. 2 of them have made the Pro Bowl. That's James Cook and Dawson Knox. Again, 2 out of 56. Right. Under Brandon Beane's watch. And now, again, the counter argument there is hey, part of Sean McDermott's job as a coach is, I'm sure he's obviously in the player evaluation room, he's in the draft room, I'm sure he has a say. And part of it's also when you get a player, developing him. And so if you want to make an argument that he hasn't developed some of these guys, it's not Keon Coleman, right? Keon Coleman was a guy that was considered a first-round pick coming out, like a late first-rounder,
right,
but
fringe,
fringe, and hasn't developed. So, right, but as Scott McClory 8312 says, look at all those meh receivers Beane should have been fired. That's the point.
Yep, and I think it was telling. Some people caught this, but going into the Jacksonville wildcard round game, Sean McDermott was hyping the acquisition of Jacoby Myers for them to the point where I was sitting there and I was like, yes, I think he likes Jacoby Myers, but I also am wondering, did he want Jacoby Myers or anything? Like, we saw Rashid Shaheed moved for nothing at the deadline. Pretty sweet kick return to open things up for Seattle. Like, it felt like, I don't know if there was a disconnect there. I'm not in Buffalo to know that, but Valiant Vincent said half of those names sounded made
It sounded
up.
like a Key and Peele sketch.
Right.
It really did.
Like Jalen Virgil.
Right, exactly.
Tyrell Shavers was actually making plays before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Tyrell Shavers.
Brandon Cooks started the year with the Saints. And I mean, I think in the offseason it was with the Cowboys, right? I mean, like, and he was a leading wide receiver going into this game for Josh Allen. And so, listen, James Cook obviously was a find, and whatever. Dalton Kincaid hasn't made a Pro Bowl, but he's a nice player, right? I mean, there's other guys there, but basically, look, under McDermott, the Bills have been a top 10 defense pretty much every single year. This year they struggle in run defense, but their secondary was pretty good. I don't know, man. It feels weird to me that you're going to sit here and say it was the coaching, but not the player personnel.
And that's the decision they've made. So they'll move forward looking for not only a new head coach, but led by Brandon Beane and ownership. While Sean McDermott, as you heard Matthew and I say, I think he will get a job. I think he might actually have his choice of a couple different options.
McDermott? Yeah, maybe. I think the interesting thing, though, is conversely, okay, Stefanski is off the table. Harbaugh's off the table. Again, whatever you think of those guys. But those were kind of two of the biggest names here.
Tomlin not expected to coach.
Tomlin doesn't want to coach, although maybe,
that would be fast.
I know you said you don't want to coach, but did we mention we have Josh Allen?
Right.
Is there – but I'm just trying to think, right? So the Packers just re-signed LaFleur. I mean, like, who should – if you're a Bills fan – who are you rooting for, other than the fact that you're rooting for him to be fired?
I think, honestly, Jesse Minter would be the guy I would go after, and you keep Joe Brady. But, not saying what's the difference, but it's like, wait, why did we just fire Sean McDermott?
It feels like you need, and so I'm gonna send out a crazy idea. I have a crazy idea.
All right.
That people are gonna hate, but I have a crazy idea. Brian Daboll.
It's not crazy because of the relationship with Josh Allen. He's coached there before. He's been a head coach, and it looked good for a while with the Giants until it wasn't.
That's right.
The talent
he won a Coach of the
also
Year.
Eroded.
He won a Coach of the Year award with the Giants as a head coach. And again, there was a failure there. I mean, and so like part of this is going to be. I'm sure that they'll ask Josh's opinion.
All the leads that eroded for the Giants this year under Daboll.
Yeah.
The Bills' problem has been closing games, getting over the hump. It feels like they needed a guy. That would have even been a tough sell for Harbaugh with this job.
Right.
It's like we fired a guy because he couldn't get us over the hump and close games. So we hired the other guy in the conference that can't get over the hump and close games. I don't know what the answer is here.
I don't either, because it doesn't feel like you can mention Jesse Minter or anything like this, but it feels like too good a job to try a guy out. You know what I mean?
Let's find out if this guy's a head coach.
Right.
Which is what you say about Jesse Minter. We're excited about him, but we don't know.
Right. I mean, like the road is littered with think about whatever, Josh McDaniels. There's a lot of failed head coaches that were awesome coordinators, including Daboll. Right. I mean, so
nonstop around the league.
Right. I mean, so there's a lot of these guys that are, it's interesting. Like I might, if I was the Bills, and I don't think they'll do this, and I don't think, but if I was the Bills, I might think about trying to pull a Broncos and trade for the Rams would hang up the phone, but in a scenario where the Rams lost last night, could you call the Rams and say, what would it take to get Sean McVay? Like again, I'm
like you're like big game hunting.
Big game
is what
hunting.
you're thinking, which is the Tomlin route as well. Tomlin obviously wants to do TV, but Tomlin's under team control. You have to trade for him,
right?
And if there's anything that moves the needle, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger.
That's right.
And now it's like, hey, you dangled Josh Allen like a carrot.
That's the best.
What is the big game hunting? Like Kyle Shanahan's not going anywhere.
Right.
And usually you can't see these things because you're always surprised when a coach is traded. That's why it doesn't happen a lot in NFL history.
Yeah. Why do I think this is going to be like freaking Mike McCarthy? And I'm going to throw my hands up.
I mean, he's probably, if there was odds theoretically out there, like if DraftKings made odds, he'd be on the board.
Right? Because he's one where he's gone. I had Rodgers, I had Dak. Look at the numbers I put up. Blah blah.
Look at all these playoff losses.
Yeah. I mean, but it does feel like after getting rid of McDermott, you need to go with an offensive-minded coach.
Well, because the bar is to win the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Like that's the problem with this job. Like you look at the Titans and the Cardinals out there. The bar is to can you get us back to being a 500 to fringe playoff team in the next 3 years? You take the Buffalo Bills job. Not maybe win, but get to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Would be a start.
Absolutely.
Who's the name? There's not a name out there that you just pivot to with that.
No,
it's fascinating. I'm wondering what this conversation is like for us Thursday.
That's always the thing here. We'll move on, but it's always the thing. It's just like, I call this the Kirk Cousins argument, right? Just because as a scarred Washington football fan. For years.
That's twice now.
I know. We're getting Jay's not here, thank God.
We're getting close.
I got up at 3 a.m. in Chicago to try to get here for you lovely people.
You look spry.
I am spry. But yes, there's definitely take some odds on whether or not this gets all over me at some point during the show. But what I was going to say is it's the Kirk Cousins argument, which is when I was in Washington, fans just desperately, we got to get rid of Kirk. Why we got to get rid of Kirk, get rid of Kirk. And I would always be like, who are we getting? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Washington never had a draft pick high enough to go get a good quarterback. And there weren't any free agents out there that you felt like, oh, that guy is a significant upgrade over Kirk Cousins. I'm like, you can win with Kirk Cousins. Is he going to lead you to a Super Bowl the way that a Josh Allen could? No. But, like, if you surrounded him with good defense, and he can run a system. He at his peak. This is back in back in the days. Like he could run a system. He was running Sean McVay's system.
It's a little be careful what you wish for.
Very well, and that's my point, right? Like, okay, fine, you got rid of McDermott. Who you getting? I just don't know who you. I mean, like, there's offense coordinators out there that you like, but Josh Grizzard, like, what are we doing here?
That's a clear upgrade.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.